So what if I told you powerful politicians, celebs, tech bros and biohackers looking to go full limitless and level up their health stats are all downing doses of blue clothing dye? Now before you go trying to leech the juices from your mom's favourite Levi's, it's not just any blue clothing dye, but a very specific one known as
Methylene Blue.
And it's having its 15 minutes of fame, hurled as a panacea for all that ails you. It's trending both as a nootropic and as a youth elixir, and for its purported cognitive and mood enhancing benefits, and for its ability to stave off the ravages of degenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and vascular dementia. Now while any chemical simultaneously doing all this should get the spidey senses of any decent health expert tingling for all the wrong reasons, from a mechanistic standpoint,
Methylene Blue
targets fundamental upstream points and pathological cascades, giving it just enough credibility to warrant a closer look. Drinking the internet's latest Kool-Aid, a clothing dye that looks like Smurf piss,
Methylene Blue
has gone viral like no other synthetic chemical since Walter White was cooking glass grade in the back of an RV, and it's riding a wave of hype at the highest levels of government, and it's being championed by none other than gigapolitician or
Junior.
Now while the internet makes it seem like methylene blue is the new kid on the biohacker's block, and some microdose induced eureka moment of a shirtless tech bro during a shaman-led sweat tent session, it's not. Its roots go way back. This molecule was first cooked up in 1876 by an OG German chemist by the name of Henrik Caro while working for chemical behemoth BASF, who at the time were looking to develop an improved textile dye. A few years later, around 1907, goat bacteriologist Paul Ehrlich, curer of syphilis and godfather of chemotherapy, noticed methylene blue demonstrated significant effects on malaria, beginning methylene's blue transition from textile dye to legit medicine. And despite what your favourite tinfoil hat wearing YouTuber says, Big Pharma isn't hiding his stuff or suppressing it as a cure. It's quite literally an approved medicine and first-line treatment for a relatively common condition. Methylene blue has been used in medicine for decades. We're talking methyl-globulinemia, vasoplegic shock, and now clinical trials looking at its efficacy in Alzheimer's, sepsis, and even cancer. It's not new, it's not fringe, it's not a secret, it's just blue. So what exactly does methylene blue do? Let's start with mitochondria, the body's energy factory, which pumps out power with almost the same efficiency as the child labour used to make your trainers. Inside every cell's mitochondria, there's a metabolic assembly line called the electron transport chain that takes sugars and fats, breaking them down and turning them into energy. It's a classic case of division of labour, with each worker in the assembly line charmingly named protein complex 1, protein complex 3, 4, etc. And these assembly lines pass on parcels like NADH and electrons to make the grand prize ATP the energy currency of the body. The deadly poison cyanide shows us the vital function of the electron transport chain, showing up like a disgruntled union rep shutting down complex 4, meaning no ATP, no life, total energy blackout. And here's the kicker. Over time, these mitochondrial assembly line workers start slacking. They drop electrons, they generate toxic waste by getting high and drunk, that's reactive oxygen species, and energy production slows. This happens in aging. And then we have methylene blue, the German engineer of the cellular world. It bypasses the lazy workers up the chain, jumps ahead to deliver electrons where they're needed, and keeps the power plant running. So let's talk safety. To start with, it's important to state that it's been used in medicine for decades for a very limited range of indications. In terms of the more liberal, off-label use being done by the army of N=1 self-experimenters on the internet, there aren't any large-scale double-blind randomized clinical trials to support its use for any indications. With that all said, methylene blue is generally considered safe with a very deadly caveat. Here's the big one. Methylene blue is a reversible MAOI inhibitor. That's the enzyme that breaks down neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine, and likely accounts for anecdotal reports relating to improvements in mood and underpins research into its putative role in depression. But with anywhere from 10 to 20% of the Irish population taking some form of antidepressant, things like SSRIs, SNRIs, tricyclic antidepressants, or even opioids like tramadol, unsupervised use of methylene blue could cause serotonin syndrome, a dangerous condition with agitation, muscle rigidity, fever, and even seizures or death. This is why even low doses of methylene blue are fully contraindicated with concomitant use of serotonergic medications like antidepressants. This is not theoretical. Case reports actually exist where people have landed in the ICU and even died. On the more benign end of the side effect spectrum, we can see blue urine. Remember, methylene blue is literally a dye. At higher doses, it can cause nausea, confusion, or dyspnea. It's completely contraindicated in pregnancy with no long-term safety data. Photosensitization, where skin becomes sensitive to sunlight, is also possible. It can mess with pulse oximeters, things that register the oxygen levels in your blood, giving falsely elevated readings. And it's contraindicated for people with a disease called G6PD deficiency, where it can induce hemolytic anemia.